It was the most memorable year night on Dancing with the Stars, and it brought some tears out, not just because someone was kicked off the show. Leslie from 106 The Groove has our recap. Do we need tissues now, do you think?
I know. I didn't expect to, like, I got teared up a number of times.
Yeah. Well, each dancer basically had to pick a moment in time or a year that meant something to them, and then do a dance that, like, represented that.
Right, and you know, it was really good. Everyone stepped up their game.
Yeah.
Everyone definitely had probably some of their best scores they've had. You know, even the ones on the bottom really did well. Some of the standouts, though, definitely were Rashad.
Yes.
Wow, he had the highest score with a 39 out of 40. His memorable year was he had gotten a full ride scholarship to a top tier college for football, and he found out that his father had had a stroke and diabetes and had to have both legs amputated. So he made the decision. He wasn't really close with his dad when he was younger, but he made the decision to leave that college and move back closer to home to go to college there. And I mean, the people were like, critics and stuff were like, you've ruined your career, and what are you doing and stuff. And he said he felt that his dad had financially supported them in their entire lives. And so it was really emotional for him. They did a contemporary dance that was just beautiful.
They were calling it almost more like art than dance. And
right.
At the end of the dance, what you see is his dad is in a wheelchair off to the side, and he ends in an embrace.
And they both were just bawling. I lost it too, because that was really quite emotional. And I mean, they just had rave reviews about him. And he's a really good dancer. Somebody else that did really well that we all love is Simone Biles, you know, the
and
gymnast.
She had another tearjerker.
Yes, because her year was in 2000 when she was adopted. I believe these were her grandparents actually, and that ended up adopting her.
Yeah.
And it was a very emotional, and what the judges loved about her this time is they talked about gymnasts and how stiff and perfect they have to be, and she actually really showed emotion this time, and she was crying at the beginning of it, and she was crying at the end, and they brought her parents out. It was just really, really kind of cool to watch all that. It was emotional.
And she talked a lot about her grandparents while she was in the Olympics, but I think this is kind of like another side of that story.
Right.
Really, what? Her actual tears, we were all crying.
I know. It was, oh my gosh, it was a really great episode. Heather Morris from Glee, her memorable moment was when she married her husband. Now, I think this is a really cool story. They knew each other in high school, barely, but he ended up years later reaching out on MySpace.
Yes, our MySpace success story.
I know, and it was so cute because the beginning of the dance, she's up there with her husband, gives him a kiss, gives her a bouquet to her mother, and then they start the dance. And this was by far one of her best dances already. Also, she got 35 out of 40. I just love the MySpace comment. That was hilarious to me. And yeah, I think they're really seeing her more now as a front runner. That was a really good one. Now, again, I said everyone stepped up their game.
Yeah.
Which, I know there's mixed reviews on this. Bachelor Nick is on there. You know, he was in the bottom last week, but Charo got sent home. Well, this was his best dance so far. He got 30 out of 40. All of them said he got the best dance, but
his best year was
this past 2016 when he met Vanessa.
Right. But everybody's like, when my dad was, you know,
I know,
I was adopted or something, and he's like, you know, when I was the Bachelor.
I know. It was like really fun love and stuff, and I'm like, okay. It's just going along with his Bachelor stuff. It was, I mean, yes, it was a little over the top. The shirt, you know, came completely off at one point.
And he ends the dance.
He ends the dance with Vanessa, and like almost shows
her up, and
the dress goes up almost a little too far.
A little too much.
Almost a little Janet moment there.
Yes, a wardrobe malfunction.
Yes, exactly.
But we did get down to the bottom two. Who was in the bottom two?
The bottom two were Erica from Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, and also Mr. T, which had a very emotional. His memorable moment was 95 when he was diagnosed with a rare form of cancer. And it came back, and it had spread. And I love what he said. He said he put it all in God's hands. And it was very much, and so in the very end, unfortunately, Mr. T got sent home. But you know what? I mean, he's such a cool guy. You know, he has this persona of being Mr. Tough Guy and stuff, but he was so thankful. He's like, hey, look, I told you before I came on the show, I didn't know how to dance.
Yeah.
He goes, I thought it was cool that you guys kept me on here, but he was so thankful to everyone. And again, thank God. I thought that was really cool of him because again, we have this persona of who he tries to be, but he's really a softie.
He was really funny through the whole time because at some point he was saying, I don't want to get too puny because I'm doing all this, dancing and whatever. I'm kind of losing a bunch of weight. He says, I can't wait to get kicked off so I could just eat again and get all big and bulky again. He really had a good sense of humor about this.
Really did. And it was really neat to see that human side of him.
Yeah.
And really emotional.
Well, I mean, I know you've met him before.
I
Was he
have
cool
met
when you
him.
met him in real life?
Yes, in 1993, I think I met him.
93?
Yes, when he had that very much Mr. Tough Guy persona, but he had a great smile on his face. And
I know do we have a picture
I don't know
of
if
you
he got
with
it for
Mr. T?
sure. Oh yes.
Oh my goodness.
That was like what were you thinking with your hair? That was my moment. But look at him.
This is full Mr. T.
That is full
all
Mr.
the chains, the hair. What was the circumstance that you met
He came to the station I was working at back in Milwaukee and was the nicest guy.
Oh.
And and it was so fun to meet him. Now,
oh my gosh.
I heard you met a version of him.
I've never met Mr. T, but this is the closest I've ever been to Mr. T's. I met a Mr. T impersonator in Las Vegas and took a picture. This was the Mr. T that I met.
Awesome.
Look, he pulled off Mr. T very well. He had the chains, he had the hairdo.
He did.
I was like, this is the closest I'm ever going to be to Mr. T. Which it was, because I've never met him.
Oh my gosh, that was awesome.
All right, so we'll see next week?
We will. I think, they're really starting to weed out. I think it'll probably go down to Vanessa and Nick are probably the weakest dancers on there right now. Everybody else is pretty strong, so.
We'll see. You can watch the next episode of Dancing with the Stars right here on KGUN 9 next Monday, and tune in to The Blend on Tuesdays for a recap with Leslie. To learn more, visit abc.com or 1063thegroove.com.